Hello parents and students. I wanted to make this video first to see if Class Dojo's video application works. It's brand new. And second of all, because we are working on something that's pretty challenging in 5th grade math, dealing with 2.0 concepts, which is multiplying fractions, but using the area model drawing. So if you could turn to the problem for Monday night's homework, it's the one on the bottom here, 3/4 times 5/3. So in the standard algorithm, or the older way of doing it, as parents probably remember, it's just the numerator times the numerator equals the numerator, and the denominator times the denominator equals the denominator. So our answer is going to be 15/12. What the students need to be able to do is explain what is happening. And basically, we have a word here that when we see this multiplication symbol, we know that we're taking 3/4 of 5/3. So in other words, we're taking 3/4 a piece from 5/3. So I'm going to start with 3/4 being one color. And this is why you're seeing your child come home with all kinds of color all over their math. We're going to look at 3/4 and we're going to say, is that a fraction that is less than one whole or greater than one whole? And the answer, of course, is it's less than one whole. So we're only going to need one box for the green. Stay with me a second. We're going to come back to that. We're going to switch to the second color, which I'm going to make pink. And 5/3, I'm going to ask the same question. Is 5/3 greater than one whole or less than one whole? And here it is greater than one whole. So how many is it? I'm going to change this from 5/3 into what we used to call a mixed number, but the students just know it as a fraction greater than 1. 3 goes into 5 one whole time with 2 left over out of 3. Right there I see that 1 2/3, I'm going to need 2 boxes. Now comes the fun part. We're going to look at 3/4 and we said we only need one box. So we're looking at, do we go up only one level or do we go across only one box? And we only go up one level. So that tells me that I'm going to have to separate this box going up into fourths. Now that I know that I have those 2 boxes, I'm going to do it all the way across because both holes need to have the exact same dividing, or what your students know as partitioning. Then I'm going to shade in what is in the numerator. I'm going to shade in 3/4. Some kids like to start at the bottom and go shade in 1, 2, 3 out of the 4. Some kids like to go from the top. 1, 2, 3 out of the 4. It does not matter because when they shade it in, they go all the way across. And what we're looking for when we're taking a fraction from another fraction is that overlapping. So 3/4 is now in green. I'm going to switch it to, before I do that, let's go ahead and label this. I tell them to bracket it. So 3 out of 4 are shaded in there. Now I'm going to switch to my pink. And I am going to look at this one, 5/3. So each box going across must be in thirds. 1, 2, 3. And you kind of have to look at it. That's why color really helps me and helps a lot of the students. I'm glad because that's how I teach it most of the time. And then we count our thirds. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. We know that 3/3 is one whole. We need to go to 5/3. 4/3. 5/3. Once again, I am going to bracket it and label it. And now, thinking of only looking at those columns and ignoring the horizontals, looking at just the columns, I need 5 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can see, I'm going to actually use yellow as a third color, that this came all the way over to 5/3. So it stops there, over to there, and up to here. So essentially everything within those 2 end brackets tell me what is overlapped. So it has both the green and the pink. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That tells me my top number is going to be 15, or my numerator, as it is. My 12 comes from how many are in one whole. 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4. Children knowing how to do arrays, 3 times 4 is 12, or they could count it out. You get the exact same answer. If they're asked to simplify, then they would take it further and say 12 goes into 15 one whole time with 3 out of 12. And if it actually says simplify, they would have to simplify that further. 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 12 4 times. So there's an example of a fraction less than 1 by a fraction greater than 1. And as I tell the kids in class, it could be 3/4 times 5/3, or it could be flopped and be 5/3 times 3/4. Now, when we put that word of in there, it doesn't make sense if you do it the other way, but just so that for them to know that it is interchangeable. I'm going to try to make a second video, and the second video is going to cover the more challenging problems tonight for Wednesday, where you have a fraction larger than 1 by a fraction larger than 1, which is 2 3/4 times 1 1/2, or this monster of a problem, 3 1/2 times 2 3/5. Stay tuned.